Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 250-plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM listing nearest you, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio live over the national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Tune in this Sunday for a football doubleheader as the New York Giants host the Washington Redskins, followed by the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Denver Broncos. Presented by Vivid Seats and Exxon and Mobil. Pre-game begins at noon Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. You know what my line is. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Lots of stuff to get into today. It's Football Friday. Obviously, week 4 of the NFL season is just a couple of days away, or some would say it started last night, and I ain't got no problems with that. I don't have any problems with that. I ain't heard no fat lady. Did you see the Philadelphia Eagles handle their business? Did you see it? I told you to look for it. I did tell you. I do recall telling y'all before the game yesterday to look for this. The Philadelphia Eagles, make no mistake about it, they were on the brink. I don't give a damn what anybody says. If the Philadelphia Eagles had lost last night's game, season's over. As far as I'm concerned, in terms of, I should say that, season is over in terms of supremacy over the NFC East. That would have been the Dallas Cowboys division locked down. But because the Philadelphia Eagles won, because the Dallas Cowboys could potentially lose this weekend at New Orleans, the Eagles already 2 games back, or going into the game last night 2 games back, confined themselves within 1 game of the Dallas Cowboys. And even though it was just a quarter of a season in, you can't have the Dallas Cowboys having a 3-game lead with that squad that they've got this year and expect to win the division. I don't give a damn that it was week 4. You can't have that and expect that to work out for you. It's just that simple. It's not going to work out. So the Eagles recognized that, strolled into Lambeau Field last night, and dare I say, they handled their business. They were down 10-0. Right, you had Aaron Jones running for a 3-yard touchdown. You had Crosby with his 30-yard field goal. You had Alshon Jeffrey coming back, 6-yard pass from Carson Wentz, pulled within 10-7 after Green Bay went up 13-7. Goddard, the backup tight end, because he damn sure ain't Zach Ertz, even though I like him. He got a 3-yard touchdown pass from Wentz. Eagles got a 14-13 lead. This kid, Jordan Howard, coming over from Chicago, been an APB out from the first 3 games of the season. It hasn't been that impressive. Showed up last night. Averaging nearly 6 yards a carry, 15 carries, 87 yards. But you want me to tell you right now who deserves the game ball? It's the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. That's who deserves it. Led by Peters and Kelsey and the crew. They played like a bunch of Rough Riders. And they literally pummeled Green Bay. You Green Bay, you and your dime packages. I was taught that by Jonathan Vilma. Reminded me that the dime package is basically when you got a whole bunch of secondary dudes out there instead of stuffing it with a few linebackers and stuff like that. So you prepare more for the pass than the run. That's what Green Bay did because they didn't anticipate that the Philadelphia Eagles would be able to run the football because coming into the game, Philadelphia Eagles hadn't run the damn football all season long throughout the first 3 games. But credit and props to Doug Peterson, who gave the ball to Howard, who gave the ball to this kid Sanders, who, by the way, had a 67-yard punt return. And what do you have? You have the Eagles finishing the evening with 33 carries, 176 yards on the ground, moving the chains, handling their business. They were perfect in the red zone. I just can't say enough about them. I ain't going to lie to you. I didn't see this coming. I thought they would win because I thought it was desperate times. And desperate times call for desperate measures. Eagles couldn't afford to lose this game. They couldn't afford to go 1-3 on the season with the Dallas Cowboys potentially in a position to go 4-0. They didn't let that happen. If I sound funny, or for those of you out there that ain't hearing me correctly, whatever, I apologize. Still trying to get stuff in my ear and stuff like that. I don't hear a damn thing. But it doesn't matter. I don't need to hear you right now. You need to hear me. Because where I'm at right now is that the Eagles saved their season. This notion that it's too early to engage in such hyperbole, damn that. Had the Eagles lost this game, it'd have been a wrap. And I knew it, and that means I would have been hearing, how about them Cowboys all over the damn country, which would have made me want to throw up. And one of these days, these Cowboy fans continuing to mess with me, I'm going to throw up right on one of y'all. I know that sounds disgusting, but that's how sick y'all make me when y'all come in my face with how about them Cowboy nonsense. We'll see what they do. But the Eagles showed up and showed out last night. Howard, 87 yards rushing, over nearly 6 yards a carry. Sanders, 72 yards rushing on 11 carries, 6.5 yards a carry, including the 30-yard run in the mix, by the way. Carson Wentz, I don't need to throw for 300 yards to win this game. I could be relatively pedestrian. 16 to 27, 160 yards, 3 touchdown passes, not a single interception, 113 quarterback rating. I'm happy with that. Ertz got the ball. Jeffrey got the ball. Howard got the ball. Goddard had a couple of receptions. So did Hollins. He even had one reception. There was a sighting. Alshon Jeffrey, let's not drop any more passes. Same thing with you, Aguilar. Let's not drop any more passes. Eagles still dropping passes, damn it. That's not a good thing. I'd like to see Sproles more actively involved. That's just my particular preference because I think he should. Only 1 carry for 4 yards. I think you could get Sproles more involved. Maybe they're saving him. Maybe they're preserving him because they don't want to put themselves on Front Street just yet. The dude is 36 years old. He's a miniature dude walking around at 190 pounds. So it might behoove them to say, okay, let me chill with that. Let me make sure I play him later, not worry so much about now. I'm good with that. That makes total sense to me. I approve of that message. I approve of that message. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to say what needs to be said. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about a couple of things. Number one, that bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Let me say this. Doesn't seem like himself. Somebody's got to say it, so I'm going to say it. Somebody's got to say it. So I'm going to say it. Doesn't seem like himself, ladies and gentlemen. He really, really, really does not. Last night, with that interception, perfect example. Let me explain how. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers in the midst of throwing 34 for 53 for 422 yards, 2 touchdowns, a couple of dime drops. I mean, he looked sensational at times last night. You sit up there, you Green Bay, you stack the right side. Evidently, Matt LaFleur, the head coach, the rookie head coach for the Green Bay Packers, either him or Aaron Rodgers decided they wanted to pull a Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll. You got Valdez Scantling cutting over slant into the end zone. He's going to his left. The Eagles collapse on him. Aaron Rodgers throws the football anyway. By the way, timing, split second, we get all of that. Let me say this because this is very, very important. That ball hit Scantling in the chest. That ball hit Scantling in the chest. That should not have been an interception. That should not have been an interception. It hit him right in his chest. It wasn't some Malcolm Butler cutting in front of Scantling and intercepted the ball. That ball hit Scantling in his chest. Valdes-Scantling right in the chest. Bounced off of it, bounced in the air. Eagles got the interception. That's what happened. But I will say this. Darius Shepard, undrafted free agent out of North Dakota State. I think it's the same place that Carson Wentz went. This brother crossed over and went directly to the right corner of the end zone, although he turned around late because he knew that the play wasn't for him. Here's the facts. If Aaron Rodgers would have waited one more split second, that was an easy touchdown. He missed him. We can slice it any way we want to. He missed him. I'm not saying that it's such an egregious error or anything like that. I'm only saying that is not an error we see Aaron Rodgers make. We haven't seen that. Do I think that Aaron Rodgers is slipping? Do I think that? No. There is slippage between Mike McCarthy last year and thus far with a rookie head coach, Matt LaFleur. Has there been slippage? Yes. Do I think it's something that's definite and permanent? Hell no. This notion that Aaron Rodgers ain't what he used to be, y'all could kiss off. We know he didn't like playing for McCarthy. And eventually, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to say it like it is because sometimes y'all don't want to, I'm going to do what my man Joe Madison, Sirius XM, Urban View Radio, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday. Check him out. He's one of the best ever, a Hall of Famer, or as a radio host. Although it's politics, not sports, he said something. He has this saying that I believe, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe Madison, if you're listening anyway. I apologize if I got this wrong. But I think he said his grandpa once said that. Give it to them where the goats can get it. So that's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give it to you where the goats can get it. Aaron Rodgers did not like playing for Mike McCarthy. And ultimately, no matter how great you are, there's going to be some dissipation somewhere if you don't get along with the people you work with and the people you work for. A healthy, happy environment, relatively speaking. It ain't like you got to throw parties together, be drinking buddies together or anything like that. But a nice, good, cordial relationship that facilitates you looking forward to coming to work every day actually does matter. If you can't stand coming to work every day, and you don't like who you're working for, or you don't like who you're working with, particularly if the person that you're working with or for is somebody that you got to be around all day, that's problematic. And that is what Aaron Rodgers was going through with Mike McCarthy, no matter how he slices it. And I'm not talking about him liking McCarthy or not liking McCarthy as a person. I'm talking about him not necessarily liking playing for the man. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about him not necessarily liking playing for the man. And if you think that the man is archaic, he's not innovative, and he puts you in a position that isn't conducive to winning, you're not going to like working for him. It doesn't mean you dislike him, but it does mean you're going to dislike working for him. Then we got to remember that he got the broken collarbone because he got injured against Anthony Barr in Minnesota a couple of years ago. Then last year, he had a bevy of injuries early in the season and just tried to play through it. So when we talk about slippage on the part of Aaron Rodgers, I didn't count 2 seasons ago when he only played about 3 or 4 games, and I didn't count last year when I knew he was hurt week 3. But last night, when he missed Darius Shepard in that end zone, that did resonate with me. I got to admit that. That really, really did resonate with me. That took me aback to some degree. I did not expect that from Aaron Rodgers. I expected more. And the fact that I didn't get that, I got to tell you something. That resonates with me. I can slice it any way I want to. That kind of resonates with me. So with all of that being said, let me be very, very clear. I think Aaron Rodgers will make up for it. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to shine and continue to be great. I'm not like my man Max Kellerman, who believes that suddenly Aaron Rodgers ain't great anymore just because Patrick Mahomes could potentially be greater. The reality is that just because somebody else is greater don't mean you ain't great. And just because somebody else is phenomenal doesn't mean there's slippage on your part. Now, do I believe I've seen slippage to some degree? Yes. But I just gave you the conditions under which I think that has happened. And I think ultimately Aaron Rodgers will get it together. And as long as Green Bay's defense tries to, just inch towards greatness, I think the Green Bay Packers are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Now, I will tell you, that wasn't the case last night because we've been bragging about that defense, which was number 2 coming into the game last night. Suddenly, that don't apply. Suddenly, you gave up 33 points to the Philadelphia Eagles. Suddenly, you ain't what we thought you were. As a defense, you can't stop the run. You didn't just give up 176 to the Eagles. You gave up 158 to Minnesota. You can run on the Green Bay Packers. That's the problem right now. You can run on them. And if you can run on them, you never know what kind of trouble that's going to get you into. So we got to keep our eyes on that as this season progresses. Make no mistake about it. That's going to be the way to go. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. There's no other way to look at it. But if you're going to tell me that Green Bay has a respectable defense, I'm going to tell you, Aaron Rodgers, don't bet against him. You can bet against him if you want to. I wouldn't advise it. I would not advise it. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. I believe in this brother. He is the creme de la creme. And Patrick Mahomes coming on board, I know how fantastic he looks. I really, really do. But I also want to keep in mind, you know what? He hasn't thrown any interceptions, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, completing nearly 72% of his passes. Absolutely phenomenal, on pace to throw for 6,000 yards. Patrick Mahomes is the truth. But I want to stay for the record. I had no problem with what Troy Aikman said the other day. When Troy Aikman said, get a third of what I've accomplished. I have no problem with Troy Aikman, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, reminding all of y'all fools out there that while Patrick Mahomes may indeed be great, you got to finish the deal. Patrick Mahomes was absolutely sensational against the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game in the second half. I recall him going scoreless in the first half. You see, you got to play a complete game of football to win championships. That's usually what it requires. And if you don't do that, there's a price to be paid. Patrick Mahomes is something special. The likes of maybe which we have not seen. I agree with all of that. Love his composure, love his demeanor, love his leadership. Only thing I don't like about Patrick Mahomes is that he has a voice like Ed Orgeron for LSU. He sounds like the son of Ed Orgeron. That's how he sounds. I don't know about that. That's about it. What else is there not to like about Patrick Mahomes? He's the real deal. But you got to finish the deal. And see, that leads me to a bigger discussion that we don't have enough of, because too many people, and this is where money has contaminated the world of sports. Because you see, we look at a guy like Dak Prescott and you say, who the hell does he think he is to want to be the highest paid quarterback in football? Well, that's simple. What do you expect when you give Matthew Stafford $27 million? What do you expect when you give Kirk Cousins $28 million in guaranteed dollars per year for 3 years? That's $84 million, fully guaranteed. What do you expect when you do stuff like that? What do you expect? Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl, but then wet the bed, albeit against New England. Got $110 million guaranteed. Carson Wentz, a stud. Love Carson Wentz. But he was injured the last 2 years when the Eagles went to the playoffs. It was Nick Foles that had to step in and help deliver a Super Bowl championship 2 years ago. And then after that, take them to the playoffs last year and register a victory over the Chicago Bears, courtesy of a missed field goal as time was expiring. So we have to look at it from the perspective, Carson Wentz wasn't in the playoffs. Durability issues, not that he couldn't play, it's that he was hurt. But here's the reality. Carson Wentz was guaranteed $107 million. Jared Goff, $110 million. Now, Russell Wilson deserved every penny of what he was guaranteed. But when you look at what they bring to the table, Dak Prescott's right up there. And if he's right up there, how can we ignore what the hell the man has done and what he's bringing to the table? How can we ignore that? I don't know how we can. And so I'm just of the mindset that as you look at those things and you see them for what they are, that in this day and age, we can't knock anybody who wants the money. You know what we can knock? We can knock Madison Avenue for giving the money to people who don't win yet. For celebrating people even though they haven't done it yet. And I'm not saying you don't. If you're the players, you take the money. If you're Madison Avenue and somebody is capable of being marketed, you take care of them. But it's up to us as the public to demand. You know, you're getting all these commercials. You're getting all of these dollars. Can we get a championship along the way? Can we get a ring? There's nothing wrong with us demanding that. And when we look at this NFL season, we got New England, we got Kansas City. Jacoby Brissett comes in for Andrew Luck, the retired Andrew Luck. He's doing well. Minshew filling in for Nick Foles. He's doing well. Deshaun Watson looks like an absolute stud. Who was getting all the acclaim? It was Cleveland. Baker Mayfield. Have you seen a commercial without Baker Mayfield yet? I haven't. Hey, every damn place you look, he's in a commercial. They're 1-2. Baker Mayfield can play. He's no scrub. I like Baker Mayfield, but let's be clear. He's leading the league in interceptions since he's been named the starting quarterback in the NFL. He's got 19 interceptions in 16, 17 games. 19 interceptions. But he's the one with the most commercials. You see the problem? We need to think about stuff like that. We need to think about who's being celebrated. And if they're going to get the money, and Madison Avenue ain't going to hold them accountable because they're marketable, because they're great at creating headlines, you as the viewing public, as a fan, need to hold folks accountable by demanding greatness on the in their field, in their chosen field. Demand that they perform. Because I know that's what I do. I'm going to demand that you perform. Period. I've seen Aaron Rodgers in a couple of commercials. Aaron Rodgers has nothing to prove. We all know better. But I swear to you, here's where I'm going to lose. I'm going to tell you right now where I'm going to lose it. If I see Mitchell Trubisky, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, if I see them in a commercial, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. Because I expect more for the money you getting paid. Plain and simple. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We'll get back to your calls in more in a minute. Hopefully our technical difficulties will have evaporated. I'll be able to hear programming. I'll be able to see your phone calls, all of that stuff. We take care of that, we be good to go. All right? So stick around. Don't touch it down. By the way, we got a welterweight championship fight Saturday night. Pay-per-view, courtesy of Fox. Errol Spence Jr., IBF champion.